Maine, the Pine Tree State. Welcome to my exploration of Maine, America's northeastern cornerstone and a state of remarkable contrasts. Known as the Pine Tree State for its vast forests that once supplied lumber to a growing nation, Maine combines rugged natural beauty with maritime heritage, creating a distinctive character unlike any other state in the Union. Let's begin our journey by stepping back in time to understand the foundations of this fascinating state. Long before European contact, Maine's coastal regions and interior woodlands were home to indigenous peoples, primarily the Wabanaki Confederacy, including the Abenaki, Penobscot, Passamaquoddy, Maliseet, and Mi'kmaq nations. These tribes lived in harmony with Maine's abundant natural resources, fishing its waters, hunting its forests, and establishing sophisticated societies. European exploration of Maine began early in America's colonial history. Giovanni da Verrazzano sailed along its coast in 1524, followed by Samuel de Champlain and other French explorers. The first permanent English settlement was established at Popham in 1607, the same year as Jamestown, Virginia, though Popham was abandoned after just 1 year. More successful settlements followed, including Kittery in 1623 and York in 1624. The region's early history was marked by territorial disputes between France and England. This borderland status made Maine a frequent battleground during colonial conflicts. After British victory in the French and Indian War, the territory developed as part of Massachusetts, remaining so even after American independence. It wasn't until 1820, as part of the Missouri Compromise, that Maine finally achieved statehood as the 23rd state, and importantly, as a free state opposed to slavery. Turning our attention to Maine's geography, we find a state defined by water and wilderness. Maine boasts 348 miles of coastline, more than California, when you count its countless bays, inlets, and islands. Its interior features nearly 6,000 lakes and ponds, 32,000 miles of rivers and streams, and approximately 17.5 million acres of forest, covering nearly 90% of the state's land area. This dramatic landscape is punctuated by Mount Katahdin, the northern terminus of the Appalachian Trail, rising to 5,069 feet as the centerpiece of Baxter State Park. Maine's geography creates distinct regions: the southern coastal plain with sandy beaches, the central hills and lake country, the western mountains connecting to the White Mountains of New Hampshire, and the vast, sparsely populated North Woods. Moving on to Maine's economy, we discover how the state has been shaped by its natural resources. For centuries, Maine's economy centered on what locals call the 3 F's: forestry, fishing, and farming. The lumber industry once dominated, with massive log drives down Maine's rivers supplying shipbuilding and construction across America and beyond. The fishing industry remains vital to Maine's coastal communities and identity. The state is synonymous with lobster, harvesting over 100 million pounds annually, representing roughly 80% of America's lobster catch. Beyond lobster, Maine's waters yield cod, haddock, clams, scallops, and other seafood that supports a vital economic sector. Agriculture in Maine has evolved distinctively. While not blessed with the vast, fertile plains of Midwestern states, Maine has developed specialized agricultural niches. The state leads the nation in wild blueberry production, with over 44,000 acres cultivated primarily in Washington County. Maine is also known for potato production, particularly in Aroostook County, where the annual potato harvest once prompted schools to close so children could help with gathering the crop. The modern Maine economy has diversified considerably. tourism has emerged as a critical industry, with visitors drawn to Maine's picturesque coastline, outdoor recreation opportunities, and charming small towns. Healthcare, education, and professional services have grown in importance, especially in southern population centers like Portland, Lewiston-Auburn, and Bangor. Manufacturing remains significant, though transformed from its historic base. Paper mills, once the economic anchor of many river towns, have declined, but specialized manufacturing in areas like boat building, composite materials, and food processing continues. Bath Iron Works, building Navy vessels since 1884, represents Maine's continued importance in shipbuilding. One cannot understand Maine without appreciating its distinctive culture. Maine's identity has been shaped by independence, practicality, and resilience, qualities necessary for survival in what can be a challenging environment. The state motto, Dirigo, Latin for I lead, reflects a spirit of self-reliance that permeates Maine culture. This independent streak manifests in Maine's political tradition. The state has a history of political moderation and ticket splitting, often electing independent candidates or those from either major party based on character rather than partisan affiliation. Maine's innovative ranked choice voting system, adopted in 2016, reflects this independent approach to governance. Maine's cultural contributions extend to literature and art. The state has inspired countless writers, including natives like Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, Sarah Orne Jewett, and Stephen King. Artists drawn to Maine's light and landscapes include Winslow Homer, who painted from his studio at Prout's Neck, the Wyeth family, and generations of others who found inspiration along Maine's shores. Food traditions form another vital aspect of Maine culture. Beyond the iconic lobster, Maine cuisine includes specialties like clam chowder, fried clams, baked beans, brown bread, whoopie pies, and blueberry desserts. The state's growing craft beer, spirits, and farm-to-table movements have enhanced its reputation for quality food and drink. The rhythm of life in Maine follows distinct seasonal patterns. Summer brings a surge of visitors and seasonal residents, swelling coastal communities and bringing economic vitality. Fall transforms the landscape with spectacular foliage and harvest celebrations. Winter, long and challenging, offers skiing, ice fishing, and snowmobiling. Spring brings renewal with flowing maple sap and the return of migratory birds. Maine's population reflects both stability and change. Many families trace their Maine roots back generations, with Franco-American heritage particularly strong in mill towns and the St. John Valley. Indigenous communities maintain their cultural traditions while addressing contemporary challenges. Recent decades have seen growing diversity, particularly in southern Maine, as immigrants and transplants from other states discover Maine's quality of life. A fascinating aspect of Maine's social landscape is the distinction between people from away and native Mainers. Local tradition humorously holds that even after decades of residence, those born elsewhere may still be considered from away. Yet Maine communities welcome newcomers who appreciate local values and traditions, recognizing that fresh perspectives can strengthen the state. Examining Maine's education landscape, we find a state committed to learning despite the challenges of serving rural communities. The University of Maine system, with its flagship campus in Orono, provides higher education across the state. Private colleges like Bowdoin, Bates, and Colby have developed national reputations for academic excellence while maintaining deep Maine connections. Maine faces significant challenges in the 21st century. Population aging stands foremost, with Maine having the nation's highest median age at approximately 45 years. Rural communities struggle with youth outmigration, healthcare access, and broadband connectivity. Economic transitions as traditional industries evolve create both disruption and opportunity. Environmental concerns are particularly relevant in a state so dependent on natural resources. Climate change affects Maine's forests, fisheries, and coastal communities through warming waters, rising sea levels, and changing weather patterns. Conservation efforts, building on Maine's strong environmental tradition from the days of Governor Percival Baxter to modern land trusts, seek to balance economic needs with environmental protection. Yet Maine demonstrates remarkable resilience in addressing these challenges. The state has become a leader in renewable energy, particularly wind power. Innovation in sectors from aquaculture to forest products points towards sustainable economic models. Maine's quality of life continues attracting remote workers and entrepreneurs seeking connection to nature and community. Tourism remains vital, but continues evolving. Beyond traditional summer visits, Maine has developed year-round attractions from winter sports to culinary tourism. Acadia National Park, the only national park in New England, draws over 3.5 million visitors annually to experience its remarkable coastal landscapes. As we conclude our journey through Maine, perhaps what defines the state most is its authentic character. In a world increasingly dominated by homogenized experiences, Maine retains a distinctive sense of place. From Kittery to Fort Kent, from Eastport to Rangeley, Maine communities preserve unique identities while sharing common values. Maine's contribution to America extends beyond resources or products to embody certain ideals. Self-reliance, tempered by community responsibility, respect for tradition alongside pragmatic innovation, and appreciation for the natural world as both resource and inspiration. As America's day begins at the first sunrise on Cadillac Mountain, Maine continues to serve as both geographic cornerstone and cultural touchstone, offering lessons in sustainability, resilience, and authentic living. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Maine, America's easternmost state, where natural beauty, rich heritage, and independent spirit combine to create an enduring sense of place.